back, yes. And what a show we have for you tonight. I'm sitting here. William Shatner, nice to see you again.
Thank you. Boston Legal, Sunday nights, ABC at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So long.
I was going to get to that. I was going to get...
I just want to be sure that got it, and then I don't care what happens.
Yes. Yes.
Talk to me. I'm so happy about your marriage and your baby.
Yes, I have a little girl now.
What's her name?
Nev.
Oh, my God, what a name.
What?
Great
Nev.
name.
It's a nice name, yeah.
Nev,
Simple, Nev.
Yeah, Nev.
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow's baby's Apple.
Yeah, she was on the show, and I didn't realize that her baby's name is Apple.
If she married Brad Pitt, she'd have Apple Pitt.
So let me get this straight. You only inquired about my baby so you could make that joke.
I'm a very shallow person.
You're a very shallow man, a very shallow man. Now listen, there's so much going on in your life, in your career that's stunning. But before we get into all that, I have to ask you, I always ask you kind of a nerdy Star Trek question, and I have to get it out of the way. I'll ask it right now,
okay.
Which is, I read in an interview a long time ago that Dr. McCoy, DeForest Kelley, the actor, he gave you the silent treatment for 2 years during your time together making Star Trek. 2 years he wouldn't talk to you on the set because he was furious with you. What was going on? Is that true, first of all?
It is.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I was a friend. I wanted to be his friend.
Yeah, and he was mad at you. Why was he so mad at you?
He got angry easily.
Mm-hmm.
And it was over his dog.
His dog? What happened?
He walked his dog every morning.
Mm-hmm.
And he came in one morning to the makeup room, and he was crying.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what happened? He said, my dog is dead.
What?
Exactly. That was my reaction. What happened? He said, I was walking my little, what do you call them, a little chihuahua.
Mm-hmm.
I was walking my little chihuahua, and she got off the leash, and she started running around in the grass and hit a sprinkler head and dropped dead.
I've never heard of that. Hit a sprinkler head and drop dead?
You see what that reaction was?
People laughed.
That's what I did.
You laughed?
He didn't talk to me for 2 years.
He was good. Oh, my God. He must have been furious. Did he act like McCoy in that moment and look up from the dog and go, Jim, he's dead? Did he do that?
He tried to give the dog mouth to mouth. Yeah.
Oh, God. So you laughed? When someone comes in and they're crying and they tell you their dog died, you have to try not to laugh.
They're dog. I think Dobermans are a dog.
Right.
A Chihuahua is a rat.
Please, if you're angry, a lot of dog people get there are a lot of Chihuahua lovers. If you're angry about that comment, write to Will Shatner, care of The View, and we'll...
Those people's bark are worse than their bark.
You're insane.
Yes.
You're insane.
But
now,
not enough.
Well, I got that out of the way. I'm glad that you cleared that up for me.
Yes, Frank is glad now.
Yeah. Now, you've always loved traveling. Your whole life you've loved traveling.
How did you know that?
I know that because we've talked about it many times. Clearly, it had no impression on you. But many times you've been here...
I'm surprised you were listening.
Yes. I hang on every word. And so you've always talked about your love of travel. And now I'm told that you went on a safari.
I did.
And that you had kind of a... It wasn't terrific. You had kind of a bad experience.
Oh, I had a great experience. Dotted here and there by various sort of extraordinary moments.
Right. Well, give us an example of an extraordinary moment on your safari. In a tent.
In a tent, on the veldt.
Right.
You know, the prairie. I mean, there's just animals. And you stay in your tent, you're okay. You come out of your tent, you're dead.
Right.
It's that kind of thing.
Right.
So
So you were killed. Is that what you're saying? I don't know.
I'm a half-eaten replica of myself.
Yeah.
So I was in my tent, and there was a sound.
Right.
And I got up, and I looked out, and it was a dark, palpable night. You could reach out and touch it. So I reached out, and I touched it, and there was something there.
What was it?
Well, I kind of felt around. Finally, and then I realized I was looking up at the tail end of an elephant.
It was that close to your tent?
It was right up against it.
Yeah.
Munching. And then I saw the tail lift.
Oh, my... No! What are you talking about?
It was awful.
Yeah, I can... You bring such dramatic resonance to your tales. That was the way you looked...
That was the elephant tail.
Oh,
you should have heard my tail.
So the elephant relieved itself on you?
And past wind.
Right. So that was a bad experience, is what you're saying?
No, actually, that was one of the good ones. You should have been on that trip. It was awful.
Right. We have a little comedy routine going here. You have this out. We have to talk about this record, Has Been. You've come out with this record, and every single review, and I don't just mean reviews in small papers or magazines here and there, all of the big names in the recording industry have come out and said this is one of their favorite albums of the year. I heard about this. I got the record. I started listening it today, and there's a lot of great music.
Yeah, Ben Folds wrote the music and collaborated. I mean, I wrote the words, most of them, and he wrote the music, most of it.
And it just worked out. Yeah. You started working together, I guess, on a commercial, and then it
well,
went
actually,
from there.
further back than that, he had an album called The Fear of Pop, and he wrote a number for me, White Oleander, and that's where we met. And White Oleander was a very successful experience for both of us, and then we continued to work together.
You've said that that performing live, that when you perform music live, that you feel like an Oreo cookie. I don't know what that means. It stunned me into silence as well. What do you mean you feel like an Oreo cookie when you're performing music live?
I want to eat an Oreo. I feel like an Oreo cookie as against a muffin. No, I'm only joking.
I hope so, because then I'd have to have people come in here and take you away.
Then you have to add,
if you meant that seriously.
Track,
right.
From behind is this energy. Rock and roll, I've discovered rock and roll.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds bizarre.
Yeah.
But
relatively late in life, you discovered the power of rock and roll.
Relatively late.
Yes, that's what I meant, relatively. Yeah, you're going to be around for a long time.
Well, not at this rate. So there's this energy coming from behind the rock and roll band. And there's this drummer. Let me hear. Down, finally. Wow, the energy that comes forth from that. Right. Then there's the energy from the audience. They're going, wow, yes, man. And there's this. Okay?
Whoa! So what you're saying is that the band's behind you, pushing you one way.
You got it.
The crowd is pushing you
the other way, and you're like in the center of an Oreo cookie, and I've discovered the secret of it all. It's sex. Am I right? Is rock and roll sex or not? The musicians are going, yeah, what? And
what kind of musicians have you hired? Are they perverts? What musicians are going like, ah?
Give me a little bit.
What?
Give me a sec. Give me a pelvis. That's called a basic beat, a tom-tom throbbing expulsion of energy.
This is a family show, and I will not have that kind of talk here. Throbbing and thrusting is not...
Get me Mr. Powell.
Yeah. That's...
But that's what rock and roll is.
Yes,
I discovered it late in life.
Yeah.
That and sex.
Yeah. Clearly, you didn't get out much. I listened to this record, and here's something. You've performed before. You've sang before. You have a very distinct vocal style that you can't really. It's not really singing.
No.
And it's not really speaking.
No.
It's just Shatner. Is that fair to say?
I would say you could do anything in a Shatner.
Yeah. It almost feels like it doesn't matter. You don't even probably need a good song. Anything you do, you can sort of bring life to as William Shatner.
I'd like to think that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, what?
Well, I was thinking about this earlier today, and I thought, I bet this is a song that a lot of kids learn.
Yeah.
I bet Eensy Weensy Spider. I bet you could do Eensy Weensy Spider Shatner style, and it would be a whole new thing.
I'll try.
Yeah, let's hear this right now.
Itsy bitsy spider.
Itsy bitsy spider.
Climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun. Dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again. Yeah! Hey, itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
Let's get Jesus out here. Bring him out. at 10 on ABC. Has-Beens in stores now. William Shatner. It's always an experience. Thank you, Patton Oswalt. I'll be right back.